What's up, everyone? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to Unveil Paranormal. I appreciate y'all dropping in. You were just looking for me, Jeremy? Yeah, I'm running a few minutes late. I was trying to find a video for y'all to share with you because tonight we're going to be talking about all things Ouija. Ouija what? Ouija. Let's see. Like that. So, hey, Mort, it's been a while. Welcome back. Welcome back. First, we got to say a few things, as always. If you enjoy this content by the end of the video, feel free to go ahead and jump over and follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. I'd love the support. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, as some of you may have seen in the banner, we have Paraunity 5 listed as kind of a sponsor to this season. I will be hosting Paraunity 5. It is October 21st, 2023. It is an awesome event with awesome people. Every year has been really good that I've gone. And this year I get the pleasure of getting to host it. So if you're interested in going, it is free. If you're interested in being a registered vendor, right there is the QR code, or you can just go ahead and jump over to the Facebook page, find the registration link, and register. Now that we got the boring stuff out of the way, hello, Anne. Welcome. Nope, you were in the right time zone. I was running a little late. So, guys, tonight we're going to talk about all things Ouija boards. This is going to be an open discussion. So this is the first open discussion of the season. So I'm really excited about it. So open discussions, to me, I would love to see look like this. We're going to talk about a topic, and that's what the topic's going to be about for the hour. I want your input. I want to hear your stories, your experiences, your opinions, all things on Ouija board. If you want to be on video, let me know, and I'll privately send you the link. If you don't want to share your stories and your experience, if you don't, feel free to share your stories in the chat. I would love to see those, and we'll definitely talk about those, okay? But first things first, I would love to share a little history about the Ouija board with everybody before we get started. I do have Brad here on standby. Brad Ferris, he does also want to jump in on this. He suggested the topic. I said, go ahead and come on in and share your stories too, and we'll do that. So Brad is here tonight also, so we'll bring him on here shortly. But first, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a little clip here, about 2-minute clip about the Ouija board history. These gentlemen, I will definitely put the link to the full video in the description after this video so that it's YouTube. They're going to want me to give them credit. So let's go ahead and grab this video real quick. I find these guys kind of interesting, so you all might enjoy them too. All right, and you do see everything here. Okay, let's go ahead and share this clip.
There it is. We got candles. We got spooky lighting. What else do we need to summon the forces of darkness?
We need a board game from Hasbro.
The modern road meets the mystifying oracle.
How does this go from a genuinely haunted talisman to a board game?
Well, the first written record of what they called planchette talking or spirit boards or talking boards was in 1100 AD in China. Record of it being used all over the world, in Rome and Greece and so forth. But in 1890, in the rise of spiritualism in the United States, it was patented by William Fuld and Elijah Bond.
Now, this is back when everyone had talking to dead people fever.
Exactly.
It was an actual medical condition.
Yes, it was like Pac-Man fever, but with dead people. Now, there are a lot of knockoffs, but Ouija is the one that is used by Hasbro.
Now, I've heard that Ouija, at some point, they were saying it's a fusion of we and ja from German and French, but that's not true. That's like retcon,
That's
right?
not true. Yeah, that's just something that these guys made up.
There it is. We got candles.
Made
We
up
got spooky lighting.
To sound
What else
kind
do
of
we need?
exotic.
Mysterious.
Originally, it was one of the guys that they worked with, and he was saying that Ouija was an ancient Egyptian word meaning good luck.
Oh, but even that's BS, right? Just made up.
Exactly. It just sounds spooky.
God, man, those days must have been great. Anyone could just make anything up. There's no internet to correct them.
Oh, God, you could just lie to people and make money off of it.
Unlike now, where we know that's totally ended.
Oh, yeah.
All right, look, we got someone. What are we going to ask? What are we going to ask?
Oh, I didn't read the rule book. Should we read the rules?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. What are the rules?
Are there
Does
rules?
anybody read
For
the rules?
decades, players have brought their questions to the Ouija board. What you do with the information it reveals is between you and the mystifying oracle. Man, those are some carefully selected words.
Yes.
And then the tagline, Ouija, it's only a game.
Made up to sound kind
Is it only a game? For some, it is only a game. But for others, it's business, right? Who all thinks here, that's in the chat, who all thinks it's just a game? I showed you, I have the Hasbro Ouija board. They kept calling it Ouija. I don't know why. I've always called it Ouija. How do you pronounce it? Is it with a J or G? But this is the Hasbro version. I got mine several years ago. Jeremy says it's not a game. Sean Clark, the Ouija board is no different than any other piece of equipment we are using during investigations. We'll talk about that. Let's see. I visited the grave of a woman who named... Really? Okay. On the oh, you didn't get notifications? Okay. Ouija. So you say it like most people, Jeremy. Ouija board. Does absolutely nothing for you. Be like, sorry, Ouija board. I'm just not feeling this right now. I'm more of a pendulum type girl. Like that guy. I'm just kidding, by the way. Ouija board usually doesn't do anything for me either, to be honest. I've had very little luck with Ouija boards. I will share my first story ever with the Ouija board, but I am going to go ahead and grab Brad to put him on here with us, and we're going to discuss. I'm sure Brad has stories about Ouija boards. He has Ouija boards with him. I'm sure he wants to show some of those off. I can see him in the background, Brad. So let's go ahead and grab him and let him come on here. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
I saw your Ouija boards in the background. Is that your poppet back there?
That is my Ouija poppet, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, pull out the Ouija poppet because I've seen these and these are too cute.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Where'd you get that at so everybody knows?
It was a Books A Million exclusive. They produced it it came out December of last year.
Okay.
No, December of the year before.
2021?
Yes.
Yeah, those are too cute. I love those.
Yeah.
So we're going to share our stories, Brad, and I know you have a lot of opinions about the Ouija board. By the way, do you say Ouija or Ouija?
I say Ouija.
Ouija, yeah. Okay.
I have Ouija board tattoos, so.
Yeah. Are you going to share those, or those are places we don't want to see?
Well, it's right there and on my arms, so.
Brad has a lot of tattoos. How many tattoos do you have again?
I think I'm up to 49 now.
Yeah. So you all maybe remember Brad Ferris from last year. When's the last time you were on the show? It was either spring or summer.
I was actually on the Halloween one for a little bit when you talked about Halloween.
Oh, yes. You did jump in on the Halloween one.
And then it was at the end of season 2. Was the last time I was on there?
Would have been last spring. Really can't be used as evidence, just like this ridiculous this ghost apps. I have opinions about those too, so but yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to do, Brad, is I would love to share my first experience with a Ouija board.
Go for it.
So I'm gonna share my story. I want you to share your story, your first experience, if you know what it was. And then if anybody else wants to chime in, let me know, or put your story in the comment and I'll read it out. But my first experience with a Ouija board was not until I was an adult. So I was like left in the dark on Ouija boards, never really used them, seen them on TV, stuff like that. So I never really had experience with them, never owned one. This is actually the first one I've ever owned. And again, it is Hasbro. It's for kids 18 or 8 and older, It's the not really exciting board, It's just your little board and then your plasticky planchette. I would love to have an authentic one, something more, I don't know, I guess interesting looking, but I don't. I just don't usually use these. This board I've never really had luck with, so I don't know if that says something about Hasbro. Maybe they need to dabble in some spiritual craziness to bring on some bring on some spirit. Do you want to share your comment?
No, I will say it in time.
Okay. But anyways, I'll tell you about my first experience. My first experience was I was probably like 19, 20 years old. I went to a party. Of course, that's back in my fun days. Up in Fort Wayne, which is a town nearby, a city nearby. And I went to this guy's house with my friend, and all these people were there, and he had a Ouija board. And he's like, guys, we've got to try this. Let's go play. Of course, they're all drinking and stuff. I've never been a big drinker, so I wasn't drinking back then. I did like to go to parties, but I didn't drink, so that's just how I was. So I go upstairs, we sit around, and there's like 8 of us in this little room, and everybody else is downstairs or in the other room. And so it's a party, so I'm like, they're not going to take this seriously. Let's just do this, get it over with, whatever. So I sit down. I think the guy's name was Dylan that lived there, if I remember right. He was a part of it. My friend Kelly was a part of it, and a couple other people. And we sat there and we just waited for it to move and waited for it to move and waited for it to move. And then it started moving. So then I'm like, okay, I don't really know these people that are here. So are they moving it? Or is it me moving it? Or is my friend across from me moving it? Like, is it moving spiritually? What is it doing? Like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So Dylan, who lives there, who owns the Ouija board, starts freaking out. Like, oh my gosh. Like, he starts getting scared. I can't, like I said, this is forever ago, so I don't remember the questions we were asking or anything like that. But so he starts freaking out. So he decides to leave the room. Then his friends all follow him because they don't know me. They don't know my friend Kelly very well. She was just starting to be part of that friend group around that. Because she was in college. I was not. So I kind of followed her and her college friends at the time. But so it's just me and my best friend Kelly, and she's sitting across from me. And I kid you not, this is probably my only good experience I ever had with this thing. Me and her were alone, and both of us had our fingers barely touching it, and that thing just started moving. So I trust my friend Kelly. I don't think she's moving it. I know I wasn't moving it. And there were points where it was moving, and both of our fingers were like off the planchette. Like you could see, like we had lifted it off, and it was just trying to move on its own. So that was my first experience with a Ouija board. Now, since that experience, I have had no luck with Ouija boards. I have not really seen them move. I've not really had them. I mean, I've done the Ouija board by myself. I sat in my house and did this by myself in hopes maybe it was just me by myself, something would happen. Not a thing. This thing has never worked for me. And I believe that Dylan had one similar to this, a little bit older, because obviously that was years ago. But yeah, that was my first experience. Do I believe in Ouija boards? Sometimes. But I do think they can be manipulated very easily. So that's my story. Mine fell behind the stove a few weeks ago. Oh, okay, Sky. You might want to get that, especially if it's wood. I don't know if it could catch fire or something. Jeremy, do you want to share your story? I know, do you have 13th Dimension tonight? Do you want to share it on video or do you want to share it here? Let me know ASAP so I can get you on and get you off so you can get ready for 13th Dimension. Natalie, a friend at school did a Ouija board with her friends for fun. Something happened that she would never explain, but it scared them so much they thought they were being followed by something for weeks. Whew. Jeremy, I'll send you the link real quick then. Let me grab this. Go ahead and Brad, tell your story of your first experience while I send him this link.
Okay. I've used the Ouija board mostly as an adult too. I've done it at lots of haunted locations, places that most people were like, you can't use it there. Well, I've got permission from places to use it there because they know that I'm not going to do anything stupid.
Yeah.
I see the board just as a form of communication. It's just like asking questions to the air and trying to get a voice on your voice recorder. It's just a tool. I do it a little differently than most people. Most people just put their fingers on it and wait for the planchette to move.
Okay.
I actually move the planchette and ask questions, and then where it stops, sometimes it'll stop while you're moving it, and then that's your letter you get, or your yes or your no.
Huh.
So I do it slightly different. I got a few places that I've done it. I can remember well. I've done it at the Monroe House multiple times.
Okay.
I've actually used my own planchette just on their coffee table that they have, their Ouija coffee table. I've done that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
And I've used it on just a regular board there. I was at a public event, and me and one of the guys at the event wanted to do it. So we're on camera, and you can literally see like the planchette come off the board and like ends up in my lap multiple times. Like it's like pulled towards me. I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I've also done it at the Roth House.
Okay.
In Watseka, Illinois. I actually used one from 1919 there.
Oh.
We found it in the house, and they didn't care, so we used it in the basement. I don't really remember if we got a whole lot of activity, but it was just fun to use one that was that old.
Yeah. So when was the first time you came across the Ouija board and you used it?
Probably 20 years ago. It was probably the first time I ever used a Ouija board.
Okay. Do you remember the circumstances or anything like that?
I don't really remember. It was probably at my own house.
Okay.
Because there for a long time, I had one just set up in my house, just out on the table, just so I could see if it would move on its own, just because of how active my house is.
Right. Okay.
So I had one set up for years. It never moved on its own.
Never moved.
No.
All right. Well, that's cool. We'll talk more about that, but let me grab Jeremy here, since he has a show after this. You have a show after this, right, Jeremy?
Hey, Jeremy.
Yep, I got a show right at 8 o'clock.
Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to make you the big person here. Tell us your story. Is it your first experience you ever had, or is it just a good experience you had with the Ouija board?
Well, it's actually the only experience that I've had, but it's not of me using the Ouija board. It was more of being an observer.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody's all heard about, Ouija boards are evil, Ouija boards are, this, that, and the other. Yeah. Me personally, why I don't have an affinity of wanting to use it, I do want to understand it. Okay. I think there's a big difference between using and understanding. So anyway, I was invited, my ex and I were invited with a group to go down to Bobby Mackey's Music World down in Kentucky. So, and the people that were there, they used the Ouija boards a lot. So what we did, and I was actually using a thermal to watch everything and observe if anything did happen or manifest while they were using it. From my end, nothing did happen. But the way that they were going about it, I thought was really stupid.
Okay.
You know me, I'm not going to mince my words.
I know.
So what the guy did, I'm not going to mention who they are. They know who they are. But the guy that brought the Ouija board with him, he's notorious for doing this. He has ashes that he spreads across the board, and he also pricks his finger and put little blood spots on the board.
Oh, wait, whose ashes are they? You don't know?
That I don't. For all I know, they could be just cigarette ashes.
Is he a serial killer?
The people in that group did smoke.
Okay.
So that's what I'm guessing it was.
Well, here's a little cancer ashes and then some blood, right?
Yeah, and it never washed the board either. So
okay.
Yeah, it looks like a murderous board, really.
Oh my god! I want to this
I have to admit, as gruesome it looks, I thought it was pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
The way that he had it. Now, as opposed to what most other people do, he did not use the planchette. He just tossed that to the side, and what he did was he put a spirit box on the middle of the board and tried to communicate that way, which I thought was unique.
That is, I've
I
not
was
seen
going to
that.
actually try that sometime. I was going to use the portal and try that.
Yeah, that's what he did, because in their opinion, the planchette does nothing.
Okay.
Way too easy for people to manipulate the planchette. And I actually had another guy told me that if people are going to use the planchette, do it with their hands palms up and put the fingernails on the planchette. It makes it a lot harder to manipulate it.
Okay.
So, okay. So anyway,
that's interesting.
It is.
All I can think of is I wouldn't want to participate touching that board.
Well, rightfully so. But still, it was something that's very unique because nobody else that I know of that uses the board does something like that.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that does that.
Yeah, he's the only one that I know of that does that. So that kind of sets him apart from the rest. But at the same time, it's unique. So it's kind of refreshing to see somebody going to the next level with the board. But still, with all the with the board. So
oh my gosh.
So my ex was sitting there at the table. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to participate. She just wanted to sit there at the table and just watch everything. I was sitting off to the side because I wanted to be able to get, let's see, there were 5 people sitting at the table. So I needed to be far back enough away to capture everybody on my thermal.
Yeah.
So they start off, starting just asking random questions. And then after about a minute, they seem to get it a bit impatient. Then one of them starts screaming out, "Come on, touch me, use my energy, do what you have to do." And I'm thinking, oh, shut up. Because if you're already using this, which is, in this field, it's questionable no matter which way you look at it. Right. Now you're going to start getting hostile. If something is there and they're going to react in kind, it's not going to end well.
Right.
So after about 5 minutes, they gave up on it, and then we started doing other things at the music house.
Well, that is so interesting. I have never thought ever to handle the Ouija board that way, ever.
Well, some people, like, just like me, you get tired of doing the same thing, so you want to try different things. Yep. And that was their way of trying different things with the Ouija board.
Right.
So I got to applaud them for that.
Right.
Now, for getting hostile, just getting hostile in a regular investigation, that's iffy enough. But now you're using something where nobody really truly understands what it is.
Yeah.
Which is open invitation for bad news.
Right. Yeah. Provoking's not really, it's not really a thing you do.
That's pretty much the story that I have. The only other time I come across a Ouija board when I was at the Davies house, and they got they're not Ouija boards, but they're spirit boards. But we never did anything with them. That's the only other times I've ever come across them.
Gotcha. Okay, well, maybe we need to try some experiments in the future. If we're allowed to, some of these locations
3 of them now and waiting on a 4th, so.
Well, Jeremy, you are going live on 13th Dimension, so while you're here, do you want to let everybody know what tonight's show is about?
Yeah, so tonight, really special guests. I got the 2 ladies that run the Old Lake County Jail, Sandy and Jackie.
Okay.
They're going to be on the show.
Okay.
And they are hoping that their connection is going to work. They said they were going to test it earlier to make sure that the connection, because they're going to be at the jail for the interview.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Maybe something will happen while you're live.
It's a possibility, but there's no guarantee that we're going to have a perfect show. It's only going to be an hour unless they want to go longer.
Gotcha.
But I am hoping that they're going to have a stable enough connection for us to actually have a show.
Yeah, we've gone live there. What was it, last March? And it was kind of hard in the jail to actually go live. Like there's some concrete there and bars and all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, so they would have to be at either the front of the building or outside, in which they're not going to want to be outside at this time of year. So, but yeah, that's who I got on 13th Dimension, Sandy and Jack.
Awesome.
Really
well, guys, if you want to see that show, that is right after this show. This show ends right before 8:00. So we'll get going on this Ouija board topic. We only got 30 minutes left. So Jeremy, thank you for your story. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. You guys later.
Yep. See you, Jeremy.
All right. That was cool. Let's see what Sean said here real quick. We did have a piece of clothing fly out of a closet one night while using a Ouija board, but this home did have many claims of activity. Okay. So you got, I wonder, okay, one, what kind of piece of clothing? Two, who owned that piece of clothing? Like those type of things are like things I would ask and question. Like, okay, is it related to what we were doing? Is it just completely out of nowhere? Those are things I would ask. So, Brad.
Yes.
You have 3 Ouija boards and a 4th one on the way. Do you want to share? Are your Ouija boards different in any way?
This one is.
Okay.
I'm not at home, so
yeah.
I only brought one with me. So this is one I have that's from the 1960s.
Can you bring it closer to the video? Yep. It's from the 1960s for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because all Ouija boards are actually numbered on the end of the box, and you can look them up by the number to find out what era they're from.
Okay.
And this is one of the last ones with William.
I'm curious now. What's on the Hasbro?
It should be on there. And this is one of the last one with William Fould's name on it.
Okay, which was in the video they were talking about.
Right. Yeah. So the guy that originally made the board. So this is one of the last ones with his name on it before it went to Parker Brothers. Had it before Hasbro.
Oh, okay.
So this actually has Parker Brothers on it too. This is right when it was crossing over. This board is not cardboard. I will open it. The box is.
Well, it's from the 60s.
Yes. This board is actually like particle board. It's actually wood and.
I like that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, the planchettes look identical. I don't have it with me because I was told I couldn't play with it here.
It's a plastic one like this one.
It's plastic. It does have a nail in it instead of the little in this round circle. Yes, yeah. It has a nail in it instead of the little.
Oh, like this little plastic piece I have here. Yeah.
Yes, and I have another one of these coming as soon as I go pick it up.
Okay. Well, see,
it may have a different box. I don't remember. She sent me photos.
Mine does have that guy's name on it. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yep.
It does have his name on it because it says patent by.
Right. But that is like the box with with his name on it is the last one.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then I have one that's a little newer than yours that glows in the dark. And now I have also another limited edition one too.
Oh, what's it limited edition of?
I don't know. I've never opened it. It's still sealed.
Oh, okay. I mean, do you guys think, and you can chime in on this, Brad, since you're joining me for this. Do you think these cheap new ones are just bogus compared to the old ones? Or do you think it just depends on what you do with the board that matters?
I personally don't think the boards have anything to do with it. I think it's all user intent.
So you think it's the people who's using it are really what the spirit is going towards?
Yes.
As opposed to kind of like how you said you use it and you just kind of move it around yourself.
Yeah,
and then
like I would hold my hand on it and we'd be moving the planchette and then ask questions and then it'll just stop occasionally.
Do you feel it's stopping or you're stopping it because you feel it's telling you something?
I try to keep moving it. So, because like I've actually had it stop so fast that my hands have slid off the planchette.
Okay.
So,
I would love to see these things move on their own completely.
yeah.
In a perfect world, I would rather be able to set the planchette on, ask the questions, and not touch the board at all.
Right. But
That
I don't
would
think
be
that's going to
preferred.
ever happen. Because just because plastic and cardboard doesn't really have any spiritual connection to it, you have to have the human interaction
right
in order to get it to do anything.
Now, do you think there's special ways to open and close the Ouija board, or do you think that's all just what people have come up with?
There again, I think it's all what the user wants.
Right.
The
like
board,
when you're opening it, you yourself are opening.
right? Yeah, you're opening your own spiritual portal in yourself, not the board. The board literally is just there as a tool. I mean, cardboard and plastic
Right.
can't do anything on its own. It's all the user.
So I guess my thought is on the Ouija board is I've never felt like threatened to buy a Ouija board or anything like that. I've been around people who I don't think should be using Ouija boards. Does that count?
Yeah, I know a couple that I've done it with that I didn't trust afterwards.
I mean, I will share this story because I know other people have had this experience. I'm not going to say what location it was. I'm not going to say specifically who was using it because everybody's going to know exactly if they've been to this location, they've seen this happen. The people were using it that I see use it, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're at a location, somebody's using a Ouija board and it is like it's like moving almost before you can even answer that question or you can even get that question out. And it's consistent. Do you think that's legitimate?
That's probably no. In my opinion, no. That's too. If it's too consistent, then you almost have to chalk it up as being manipulated.
Yeah, that was probably the worst experience I've ever had with Ouija board was watching other people, I'm pretty sure, faking it.
Yeah, that's another reason why I use the moving of the thing instead of just sitting there, and because I know I'm moving it, so when it stops, It's like, why did it stop?
Right. Like I said, a perfect world, we wouldn't have to touch it. You know, that's just like, to me, I feel like a Ouija board is comparable to the pendulum. You know, that's why I made that comment when Sky was talking about it. I feel like they're the same type of tool. The difference is a pendulum, you're going to get your yes and no's, maybes, whatever. And that's really about all you can get out of it unless you establish some type of coding with the spirit or whatever that's moving it around, right?
Yeah, but now they even make special boards you use for pendulums.
That's true. You know what? Like maybe we should just get a Ouija board and put a pendulum holder over it and put the pendulum on it and see if something happens.
I've had that thought.
I do have a pendulum board somewhere too. So
I think I do too somewhere.
Actually, I can share that board. Let me grab it real quick. Going up over my desk. Okay, so this I bought forever ago. Like back in 2015 when I first started being a medium publicly. Because I was a little nervous about reading for people. And I totally didn't even realize there was a freaking pendulum in here. I've never even taken this out. Look, I could put stuff inside it too. So that's cool. Oh, I do. Oh my gosh. guys, I have to share this. This is one of my first original pendulums. I didn't even know it was in here. Of course, it's
Is it
amethyst.
blue?
It's amethyst.
Okay.
I do almost everything amethyst. But anyways, guys, pendulum boards. So talking about the Ouija board, pendulum boards, I have several here. I bought this Barnes & Noble. I think my Ouija board thing came from Barnes & Noble. So I just want to show everybody what a pendulum board can look like. I don't know if you can see it there. I'll make me big now. You see the maybes, the don't knows, the yes knows. This says love right here. So this is supposed to be specifically in regards to love. We have timing, creativity. These look like brand new because I'll never use this.
It's a show idea.
Abundance. I know we could talk about this. Wellness. I mean, the art's pretty nice. I love fairies. That's why I got the truth fairy. Location. Oh, I wonder what we could use for location. Communication, courage, joy, enlightenment. That one would be helpful. Banishing. Ooh, I can think of some people to banish. Success. So these are all just different boards. I mean, you can make your own. You can do all sorts of stuff. But these, if I take a pendulum over this, it's no different than taking this plancha over this, right?
Right.
So that's
And
what we're trying to say.
And it's still slightly based on the user.
Yes. Well, that's why they say you were one with your pendulum. Well, you were one with the planchet. So,
right.
Hey, Allison, welcome. So, if anybody has any more Ouija board stories, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and I'll share those. Or if you want to share them live, let me know. But yeah, I've never even taken this out. I might take this out sometime because it looks like you can put like crystals in it or something like that. But I didn't even realize this was in there, so that's kind of cool. What myth about the Ouija board do you think is just so stupid?
That they're evil.
That they're evil?
I mean, like I said, the boards themselves aren't.
Right.
It's all what the user of the board, whatever comes through the board, the user is what's drawing it out, not the board themselves.
So do you think some people would have more luck with it than others?
Oh, yeah.
So why is it somebody like me? I'm curious. Why is it somebody like me who is a medium? I tell people I'm a medium, all stuff. Why is it that they don't work for me, do you think? Because you think if you're a spiritual person, you're connected with spirit, why would it do the opposite of, as opposed to somebody who maybe it's not a matter of the user being like a good user. Maybe it's vulnerability.
That's possible.
I am not a vulnerable medium.
Yeah, I was going to say, you keep your guards up too much. I think you would, if you let your guard down a little and used it, I think you might
get a little bit more, get a little more movement and stuff like that.
Because I was witness to a Ouija board session at a place that they didn't allow it there again, but I got permission. I'll even say the location because it's closed now. I was there at Revenant Acres. Okay. 2 of my friends were using it, and I took a progression of photos while they were using it. And as the photos went through the session, like darkness came over one of the people to the point I couldn't even see them in some of the photos at the end.
Oh,
but
really?
But I didn't move. I was still in the same seat. The lighting was the same. Nothing changed except by the end of the session, you couldn't see one of the people using the board. And she was super vulnerable.
Okay.
And so I think there again, it's the user.
Do you think that user mentality can transfer also to other type of paranormal equipment? Because this is just a piece of equipment. I agree with what Sean was saying. This is just a piece of equipment to
I think so. I think that's why
do you think like spirit boxes, it can be somebody who's more vulnerable is going to have a different experience than somebody who's not? Or what do you think?
I do, because like just on my team alone, some of my teammates are amazing at finding audio.
Okay.
Like they catch audio that I don't catch and can hear stuff that I don't hear. But then sometimes I hear stuff that they don't hear. But I like looking through photos and searching through photos. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And using my portal, I got it to the point now that I've got it dialed in. So, well, I don't even like have to turn the dials. I like know exactly where it's supposed to be set and let it go. And it spouts out meaningful stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, and by meaningful stuff, you're saying stuff that's relevant to the location or the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of our as investigators that's what we're looking for, is things that make sense. Which is a good and a bad thing as an investigator. If we're looking for things that make sense, we start basing our investigations off of the stories of the location or off of what we're feeling or hearing or whatever. Now, I think people are sensitive who are talented mediums, whatever. They should definitely go into a location blind. If it's a new location, now you can't do that all the time. Like, Monroe House we talked about earlier. Obviously, I've been there. Obviously, I'm going to go back. Every time I go there, I'm not going in blind anymore. The first time I did, but I personally wonder if when you're playing with the Ouija board, if you are inadvertently moving it to the answer you want. You know what I mean? Do you think that people unconsciously moves it themselves?
I could see that.
Good luck making sense of the paranormal. That's why we do this, though, Jeremy. There is no really right or wrong answers in a lot of this stuff, unless it's scientifically proven otherwise. There really is no right or wrong answers in the paranormal.
Yeah, until you can get repeatable data, none of it will ever be proven.
Right.
It's all going to be theory.
Right. And so much of what you do in the paranormal field and playing with the Ouija boards is not in a controlled environment. If you've read any type of case study or anything like that, those are in controlled environments typically. Any type of research is in a controlled environment, and I don't care if you black out all the windows, you soundproof the whole building. I mean, you're still going to have trouble having full control of that environment. So, we can only do so much when it comes to it. Right. Repeated stuff does speak volumes in this field. If you are having poltergeist activity and spirit is throwing stuff at you every other day, whatever, that stuff speaks volumes. But if they threw stuff at you one time, well, maybe they didn't throw it at you. Maybe it just fell off the shelf. You know what I mean? Like, right. It just, it's hard to prove paranormal. It's just how it is.
We don't even know if we're asking the right questions.
We don't. I mean, I think some people are talented enough that they know the right questions to ask. But, I mean, we ask a lot of repetitive questions. So, like with the Ouija board, what's your name? Everybody will ask that. What if you're talking to a 2-year-old who doesn't know how to spell?
Right. One thing I've done with Ouija boards is asking more yes and no.
Okay.
Instead of having them tell me the letter, I'm like, is the first letter of your name between A and M?
Okay.
The first half of the alphabet. And then it can either A, go to that letter, or say yes or no. So you got to give some multiple choice answers at times.
So kind of like simplifying it so that it's not like, say that your name is something long. I don't know, Christina, right? Is that a long name? Something like that. Like my name's 8 letters. Okay. 8 letters compared to Brad was just Brad. That's 4 letters. So I take double the energy to spell my name than you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you just got to think about things like that. But again, it depends on who's using it. And who do you think should be using a Ouija board? Do you think it's okay for anybody to use it?
No, there's some people that are just so eager that they want to use it. It scares me.
Like they're too excited.
It's like they're too excited for it. I know a couple different people I've done it with that were too excited to use it. And I'm like, you're just going to draw in stuff that we're not going to want to deal with. And it was at locations that I know we shouldn't have been doing it at, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They did it behind the owner's back, or?
Well, no, we did it at Monroe House I did it at the Monroe House with someone that I regret. And then I've done it at Step Cemetery before.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, I know what it spelled out, but I question what the validity of it. You got to, if you are using it with someone, you have to fully trust the person you're with. You can't just, you're going to know that they are having the same mindset they're in, because I think that all affects it.
Yeah, I agree. And some people connect better energy wise than others, and most people will know. Most people that are not just intuitives or anything like that, people that actually just pay attention to their surroundings, knows if they're gonna vibe well with somebody or not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be doing the Ouija board with somebody you don't like. Don't be doing the Ouija board with someone that's new to you. Make sure you have that connection or a connection of some type that can be, I don't know, more helpful to the reading with the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm just gonna throw this up here. If you are gonna go to watch Jeremy's show right after this, here's he's saying his stuff is good to go. So, all right. So, gosh, this hour went way too fast, and I think it's because we started late. So we talked about the history. We talked about our stories. We had some stories shared in the comments. Was there anything else you wanted to share? Oh, keep going in case they don't get on. Well, as long as I have stuff to talk about, I will, Jeremy. Thank you.
I think it's neat that Ouija's kind of becoming more accepted, and they're not just boards now. They make like pillows and blankets and the pop figures. It's kind of,
that pop figure is adorable.
and it's never going out of the box, I swear.
Yeah.
None of my pops are out of the box, so.
Yeah. Good.
But yeah, I just think it's neat that it's kind of becoming more accepted, and people don't seem to fear it quite as much as they used to.
Right. I love that. I love that too, that it is. I'm always not a big fan of mainstream stuff. You know that. That's why I don't pay attention to the celebrities and stuff like that. I do fear it's becoming a mainstream thing, just like there's a lot of things in this field that are becoming too mainstream that it's kind of like, this is lame now. Like, I hate to say that, but it does feel like that. And maybe it's because all I do is follow paranormal shows and content on YouTube that I think it's so mainstream, but the popularity of the Ouija board, you can basically find a Ouija board on almost anything nowadays. Phone cases, keychains, you name it.
They even make Ouija board mints.
Ouija board mints?
Yes, I have some at home.
So you're like taking in the Ouija board,
yeah, they're shaped like the planchettes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like, they look like
they're in a metal tin that's a Ouija board.
Gotcha. So you could pull one out and do the little thing. Okay, that's kind of cute. Yeah, there's a lot of things, and I get it. I think it's great that there's more support for something like the Ouija board. But it's something that used to be scary. It's something that used to be, like when you're in the paranormal field, you want things to stay scary, right? Like, and when they become mainstream to me, they don't seem as terrifying.
Yeah, I guess. I think there's new, like using the spirit box on it. That's something I'm going to have to try now.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think that I like the idea of trying something different.
Yeah, I like the idea of hanging a pendulum over it.
Yeah.
Or just using a pendulum over it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that should be done. The problem is the locations you go to, will they allow it, will they not? Otherwise,
Right.
you can do it at your home or something like that. So,
oh yeah, I could do it at my home any day of the week, and it would probably spout out full sentences. So,
well, you said it didn't move for the longest time, though.
It didn't, but I wasn't touching it.
Oh, okay. So it moves when you touch it. But see, that's the problem. I want to see it move without it being touched.
I don't know if it ever would.
I know that's because that's the theory that you have. But I personally would love to see it.
Yeah, I would love to see it move without being touched. But
looks like your house is doing something already. So they just had an empty cracker wrapper that was on a what?
I don't know. It's my mother.
I know it is. Tray. And it just jumped off the tray onto the floor. So it sounds like your house is having some action tonight without you.
Oh, and I'm not there.
Why do some... okay, so... Brad, you know more owners than I do. So you explain why some locations don't allow the Ouija board.
They're afraid that people are going to use it and summon things to those locations. So I don't think you can really do that, but
yeah, the thing is over here, Natalie, a lot of these places here, because she's from overseas.
Okay.
They frown upon anything that has to do with Ouija boards, ritualistic stuff. If you're a witch and you go into a building, I know witches that do this. They would take stuff, they will concoct their own little concoctions right in this building. Well, a lot of these locations have clauses that you can't do that. You can't do witchcraft. You can't do any type of ritualistic stuff. You can't do seances. You can't do Ouija board. They have this rule.
Ain't clearing either, like
you
cleansing the place.
You're not allowed, if you're a medium, you're not allowed to clear, cleanse. You're not allowed to cross anybody over. That's a no-no. Mm-hmm. They have these rules at all, like not all the locations say all this. Some of them it's insinuated. Some of them put it in there because you have a waiver. Some of them have waivers you have to sign. So just in case you get hurt on the property. That's why. It's either the belief of the location owner, it's fear of the haunting getting worse, fear of others judging the location because they're allowing all this sketchy stuff to go on. One example is, I don't know if I want to say the place on air. There's this location in southern Indiana. Brad, you know this place. They do mediumship worshiping stuff there. They do seances, they do Ouija board, they do all that stuff. Some people go to that location. Some people won't even go to that location because of that. They just instantly think they're doing seances there. They're doing Ouija boards there. They're doing all this. And Brad, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you after we get off there.
In southern Indiana?
And towards southern Indiana, yes. Maybe middle to southern Indiana. I don't know exactly where it's at.
Okay.
I've been there twice. I actually met one of the girls there was a medium. Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for dropping in. We're going to be finishing up here in a moment. And there's people that won't even go to that location because of it. Because they know that stuff's allowed there. Or they won't go in that room. They won't investigate the area because of it. So, you just got to be careful out there. So my final opinion on the Ouija board is use it if you want. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just a tool that anybody and everybody can use and try. I agree with Brad. It's really about the user, not about the board. Do you have any final words on the Ouija board?
That pretty much summed it up. But give it a try. You're going to bring in whatever you bring in. So
try it out. Don't just be scared of it. Just try it out, and see if you don't feel good about it, don't do it, But try different things in the field. Make sure you have a permission if you go to a location, but try different things in the field. So, all right, Brad. Well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and throw you down here on the bottom.
Okay.
Wrap this up, and then I'll let you know about that location after the show. So stay tuned, okay? All right, guys. So with that said, I do appreciate everybody that jumped in here and made their comments in regards to the Ouija board. We saw the history about it, all that fun stuff. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. I absolutely appreciate the support. TikTok, I don't know who you people are, but you all are awesome. I have tons of followers there. If you're interested in being part of Paraunity 5, there's the information again. Please, please, please feel free to register and be a part of the event. I have many open spots, but not a lot of electrical spots left. So definitely, if you need electricity and want to be a vendor, get registered ASAP. It's going to be first come, first serve. Again, everybody, thank you. Appreciate you. Y'all have a good night. Bye.